Hello, my name is Fadwah Halaby, certified nurse midwife with Midwife 360. I've been an RN for over 25 years and a certified nurse midwife for over 10. And I'm here today to talk to you guys about nutrition and pregnancy.
I'm Courtney Bryman. I'm a certified holistic nutrition practitioner as well as a colon hydrotherapist. I am going to be answering some questions today here with Fadwah just about nutrition. I've been working with pregnant moms and breastfeeding moms as well as an array of many different types of clients in my colon hydrotherapy practice and nutrition practice.
So over the years that I've been working with pregnant women, I have found that nutrition as it relates to pregnancy really is important for two different reasons. The first reason is for the mom's health. So your nutrition can influence your pregnancy in many different ways. You can become a gestational diabetic, you can have high blood pressure, you can just overall not feel well or not feel healthy, not be healthy. And this is going to affect your pregnancy. You may be in and out of the hospital, you may end up having to see a specialist or take medication for gestational diabetes or blood pressure, and it can even influence how you give birth if you have to be induced or potentially have a cesarean because of your ill health. Another reason or another way that nutrition can affect your pregnancy is that the standard American diet really gives women the opportunity to grow a baby that may be too big for her to give birth to. So in a normal, healthy, even plant-based diet, it would be very difficult to grow a baby that's too big for your body. But because we have access to so many different kinds of processed foods and fast foods and foods that are not very healthy for us, women have the opportunity to make all kinds of bad choices which can potentially influence their baby. And really it can go both ways. You can grow a baby that's too big for your body, or you can grow a very small baby that's not healthy because your placenta is not healthy and the baby is not getting what it needs. And so we're going to talk about a couple of different ways that nutrition can affect pregnancy. So Courtney, can you explain to us which foods are really the most important ones for a pregnant woman to eat?
Sure, it is most important for the human body in general to have raw fruits and vegetables, and as well as leafy greens. So those are the foods that our body can recognize and utilize that are highest in nutrients, that is going to grow a healthy baby and a healthy placenta. That doesn't mean that we have to have a diet that's calorie restricting. It doesn't mean it has to be boring, and it means that you can still have the foods that you crave and desire. So you want to make sure you always eat until complete satisfaction. And that's really, getting the proper knowledge and having the education, knowing that you don't have to only have a small amount of fruits and vegetables. When you're eating a plant-based diet, one of the best parts about it is that you can eat a lot to feel really satisfied. Let's take ice cream, for example. Instead of having ice cream from dairy, which is, cow-based, contains hormones, instead you could freeze some bananas, throw them in your food processor, add some raw vanilla powder. If you want vanilla ice cream, add some raw cacao if you would like chocolate ice cream. Very tasty, satisfying, add some toppings, and you have something that's nutrient dense. So it's just about knowing how to prepare your food.
So that's great to know. A lot of healthy foods are low in calories, so how can a mom ensure that she's eating enough? And how many calories should a pregnant woman eat?
Well, I think the most important way to answer that question is that it's not about how many calories, it's about the right calories. So if you're having food and eating enough calories throughout your day, what good is it if they're empty calories that can't be utilized by the body? So typically a diet of 2,000 calories is, standard. The human body would work well on that throughout the day. But if you are breastfeeding or pregnant, it's important to get 500 to 1,000 extra calories per day. And the way to do that is to have fruits that are higher in calories and stick to those really healthy foods that are going to give you the quality calories that we need. Dr. Morse, who I have linked in the recommendation section of my website, is actually adamant about pregnant and breastfeeding women to be on a raw vegan diet. There are midwives that have their clients follow a vegan diet, because what this does is it keeps the blood pressure low, and as long as caloric intake is met, it grows a very healthy baby, and it keeps you very healthy and energized throughout your entire pregnancy.
Okay, so when we're talking about eating a plant-based diet, people are often worried about getting enough protein. So can someone who's eating a diet so high in fruits and vegetables get enough protein?
The short answer is absolutely. The whole protein thing is a myth, which we'll get into later. But just a quick story, my son often loves to eat a lot of fruit for dinner. So he, the other night, was having grapes, and I shared with a family member, oh, my son's gonna have grapes for dinner, they're his favorite. And she said, grapes? You need more than grapes. And that's our mindset, that's our thought process as a society, that we need more protein, more fats, more of these foods that our bodies are not utilizing properly, because number one, they're not being combined properly, so our body gets very confused and can't properly utilize the nutrients, and also they're just not good for us. So when someone is having grapes for dinner, if my son is having enough grapes and he's meeting that caloric intake necessary, that's actually ideal for his body, because he's having one food that his body can fully take advantage of all of those nutrients in the grapes, which are so jam-packed with so much nutrients, we forget that the food from the earth is what we need. So I wanted to go back to the whole protein thing being a myth, and just to make it a very simple statement here, the human body requires a diet with 8 to 9% protein. And even the foods that are lowest in protein still meet that 8 to 9% requirement. It's also important to note that the glucose that we receive from fruits and vegetables, or from fruits mostly, are what feed our brain. And these carbohydrates, fruits and vegetables, are carbs, in case that gets a little confusing there. People think bread when they think carbs, but fruits and vegetables are carbohydrates, and it's those carbohydrates that give us sustained energy throughout the day.
That's great, Courtney. But what about fats?
So fats are important, but not as important as we are led to believe, because it's also important to note that we do eat a diet that's too high in fat most of the time. Animal products that are often considered protein, our body utilizes as fats, and that leads to many different issues and diseases down the road. So the most important sources to get our fats from, I'll stick to what's important about fats. The most important sources of fats are chia seeds, hemp seeds, sesame seeds, pumpkin seeds, so we're on the seed theme here, as well as coconut water, coconut meat, great calories from that, electrolytes from the coconut water, as well as avocado, which is delicious. Yeah, that's the most important sources of fats.
That also sounds great. So many moms are on the go, either working or with their little ones, or sometimes both. Which foods do you recommend for them to pack and take with them that's easy?
I get this question a lot. Everybody wants quick and easy, which is understandable, and there's nothing easier to take with us than fruit. Fruit can be grabbed and put into a cooler, or not, just throw it in your purse. Bananas, cut up some strawberries if you want easier grab and go, an orange or a banana with the peel. So fruits are really the easiest thing to grab and go, and if you want something really hearty that's going to really fill you up and give you your caloric needs, make a smoothie, blend it up, takes 5 minutes, throw it into a cooler bag, and you can have 1 to 2 smoothies in there that would really sustain you all day.
So people have a lot of questions about supplements, and I get asked every day about prenatal vitamins. So which supplements do you think are essential for the growth of the baby, and what exactly is the role of prenatal vitamins?
Yeah, that's a biggie, because nowadays everybody is being sold all these products, all these supplements that are often synthetic, and the body doesn't know how to properly recognize and utilize these. And it's important to take ones that are high in that vitamin. So for example, if you're taking a multivitamin and it has a small amount of all different vitamins, you're not really receiving the amount of that vitamin you may need to grow a healthy baby. The most important supplement, in my opinion, also especially on a plant-based diet, is going to be B12. B12 grows a healthy nervous system, and that's going to be important for brain development. So I would definitely recommend B12, but also to make sure that you're receiving the proper form of B12, which is methylcobalamin. So if you are taking a B12, make sure that it's the proper form, but I would say that that is the most important supplement to take alone, a liquid B12. Now when we're talking about prenatal vitamins, which is a little bit of a different topic, I, again, would not recommend the prenatal vitamins sold in stores, and often the ones that are given to you by your healthcare provider, because those are synthetic vitamins, and we're better off getting our nutrients through foods. And when the body does need a little bit of extra help, extra assistance, aside from just food, that would be from herbs. So there are herbal ways to receive the nutrients that you need to grow a healthy baby.
So in general, you would say that it's a good idea to look for a food-based vitamin or a food-based supplement. Is that accurate?
A food-based supplement is stepping it up from a synthetic vitamin for sure, but what would be even better would be to create a prenatal tea infusion. I actually personally did this during my pregnancy, and I've seen a lot of women use this recipe. It's actually recommended by a midwife that practices out of Washington that I got to see speak at the midwifery conference. And she recommends and actually requires that all of her mom take this prenatal tea infusion. The difference between an infusion and a tea is that a tea is just brewed or steeped for about 10 minutes. And that doesn't give the herbs a chance to really infuse the water with all of their nutrients. So infusing the water would mean that the herbs sit in the water overnight. So you would boil the water, put the tea into a mason jar, for example, and then pour the water into the mason jar filled with herbs and let it sit overnight, and then you could strain it in the morning and drink it. The recipe I could just say right here, but I also have it on my website in the recommended section of my website that will put the link below this video. But it's 1 part nettle leaf, which is high in vitamin C. It's an energizer, promoter of breast milk production. 1/2 part alfalfa leaf, which is rich in vitamins and minerals. 1 part red raspberry leaf, which strengthens the uterus. We know that. A lot of women do drink red raspberry leaf tea during their pregnancy. And 1/2 part oat straw, which is a blood builder. So that's going to be a really well-rounded recipe that's going to give you everything that you need, and your body's going to be able to easily absorb and utilize all of those nutrients instead of being hard on the liver and hard on the stomach to try to utilize enzymes to break down these vitamins that our body might not even recognize and use properly. You can start even drinking this tea pre-conception to prepare your reproductive system and body for pregnancy.
Very good advice. Well, thank you for joining me today and answering these questions about nutrition, and I look forward to creating the next video with more information for our pregnant ladies.
Absolutely. I hope this helps some pregnant and breastfeeding moms.